Thank you, Ryan.
Hello?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm here. I'm here.
You're
What's up?
here. Nice. Are you on East Coast time or West Coast time?
No, I'm on West Coast time, and my schedule is all messed up. I've been doing some night shoots out here, and I went to sleep at 8 a.m. So,
Oh
uh,
no.
yeah, no, but I'm actually enlivened. I always rise out of my vampiric slumber to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, of course. So,
Nice. Well, good. I'm glad I got that email out to you when you were probably still sleeping and cursing me for the emails coming in.
I'm not exaggerating about this. I had a mini nightmare because I was like, emails, and I knew I needed to email you. So it was perfect timing, actually. I woke up to your actual email, realized, so it was perfect.
Nice. Cool. That was the same with prepping for Stream of Annihilation too. It was like the emails came at the exact moments that you wanted them to come.
Exactly, exactly. I
Can't
mean,
go
great
wrong with that.
minds think alike.
Can you talk about what you're working on right now, or is it hush hush? What are you doing night shoots for? I'm super interested.
So yeah, I can talk a little bit about it. I'm actually just shooting a short out here for a couple days. We finished last night. It's this art house short by a very talented young director named Eva Dolizalova. Uh,
Ooh, cool.
God bless me, Gesundheit. Uh,
You actually
but
did that without a hitch, though. You had that completely, pronounced correctly.
yeah, I've been practicing it the last few days in the mirror.
That's like what I did when I had to talk to Joe Manganiello. I basically said that over and over again until I didn't
Yeah,
get it wrong.
I just say, "Hey, buddy." That's what I
That only works on your kids. That doesn't work as much when you do it when you over.
say. With a guy like Joe, who's so tall and big. Yeah, it's a little scary. I'm a little bit like the goblin to his orc. I feel like he's just this huge impending guy, and I'm running around like, "Yeah, get him, boss."
Do you remember that old? I'm probably dating myself, and you probably don't know what I'm talking about. There was an old pet food commercial where there was like the little dog that was jumping over the big dog, and it was basically like that. It was like the big bulldogs on, roar, 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 and the little guy's like, hey guy," and he's jumping back and forth.
That's exactly our dynamic in real life, I think.
I think that's true. I think that's totally true. Nice. Well, I can't wait to see this art film. It sounds like a pretty cool project, especially if you're shooting at night. That means you are going to be a vampire, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah, and I have long hair right now, so it's extra silly looking. I don't know if you've seen the Castlevania Netflix series that got released,
Yeah.
but they modeled Alucard off of me, so that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. Don't your luscious locks have like some kind of magic item type properties as well?
Yeah, in real life they do, but they don't in game yet.
Yet.
I've been talking to Nathan, see if he can get that written in canonically. But yeah, not yet. So hold on, maybe sixth edition.
I think with the 400-year-old Tyrell tall guy, he's earned his magic locks.
That's right. Yeah, he's definitely hairy as hell now. I feel like if you're a druid, you just kind of have to be hairy. That's a thing, I feel.
I think so. Yeah, they're usually not like groomed and clean cuts. There's not very many metrosexual druids out there.
No, no. I mean, there's probably somewhere in like the elven forests, maybe, but
Mm.
Tyrol is just a dirty, hairy furbolg. So yeah, he's lived through his fair share.
Did so you made or no you were yeah oh good we have the art right next to you so people can see exactly what Sean Wood crafted for Tyrell Tall Guy on
Oh
the
yeah,
stream.
it's really cool.
Yeah,
When I saw that, I was like, what?
yeah.
And
So
Idle Champions too, which was
I know.
with the video game art for that. I was just so excited for.
Yeah. And if
Super
that's
cool
not
stuff.
if that's not out yet, I think it'll be out in the next few days. So you should check out idlechampions.com to see Tyrell Tall Guy's art in there. It's very like almost like on a cartoony version of that character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It looks
It's really
good.
cool.
So you joined us. You joined Force Grey for the Lost episode at the Egyptian Theater
Yeah.
last December. And that was a long 4-hour session with Mr. Matt Mercer. Did you and you created Tyrell Tall Guy kind of through back and forth with us, if I remember correctly?
That's right, yeah, because both the Furbolg and the Tabaxi were new to Volo's
That's right.
guide, which was releasing around the same time as the Lost episode. So I know that you guys, we kept in contact with you guys, try to create something out of the new content,
Mm-hmm.
and I love playing druids, and so I think the Furbolg fit really well for that. So yeah, we jumped right into Tyrol.
Had you ever played a Furbolg before?
No, I've never played a Furbolg before. I've played druids before. They're definitely my favorite class to play.
Mm-hmm.
But never before this. You guys didn't give me the beta copy of Volo, so maybe next time.
Next time we'll get you something else. So what is it about druids that speak to you?
I think it's because as a player, I like to fill kind of a more entrepreneurial role between support and melee or support and damage really. So for me, Circle of the Moon Druid particularly is fun because it also kind of leaves room for a lot of role playing opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Which we have plenty of in the new season of Force Grey. I get to kind of play around with some new shape-shifting forms. And so I think that's what I really enjoy about it is its kind of multifaceted utility, primarily.
I have you've got some high praise from multiple sources for your creativity and shape shifting and using the druid powers that in ways that I don't think many people would really, ever conceive of.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I really have a lot of fun doing that particularly. I think it's because I loved the Teen Titans show growing up too.
Uh-huh.
So I loved Beast Boy. I thought he was awesome. So I just essentially I play Tyrell like Beast Boy. That's what I like to think of him as.
That makes sense, right? I mean, he's a shapeshifter. He does, different stuff. He has to think creatively outside the box. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the above.
Nice. So, so what was it like? Because you'd done that live show, which feel free to everybody go check out on the our Twitch channel under collections for Force Grey. You can definitely find that whole episode. It was live in front of an audience at the Egyptian Theater in LA. But what was it like going from there to in studio taping and then adding in 2 new characters?
Well, it was it was really awesome because obviously there were a couple new people. A little less stressful, I think, because there's when you're doing a live show like that, there's I think there's a very different dynamic. But it was also, I think it allowed us to kind of have a little more breathing room, which was good going into the studio actually. But there's really nothing like the kind of electric vibe of doing a live performance like that. And for me, I'd done a couple of Twitch streams, like casual Twitch streams and stuff of D&D, and that's really fun too because like this, even interacting with chat and talking to chat is like a live performance, but tangibly seeing people in the audience is so cool. And having the response of them either laughing at what's going on or cheering or yelling or screaming, it's a very fun vibe. But I think at the same time we get all of that wrapped up and all of that same dynamic and camaraderie in the new season in a really fun way. I think I still look back on some of our interactions. I'll message the Force Grey crew over Instagram, and I'll think about some of the scenarios that we went through, and I'll shoot him a text and we'll laugh about it still. So nice. I'm looking forward. Maybe we'll be able to get another live show sometime soon, huh?
Yeah. I like the cadence of doing here's the series over the course of a summer and then doing like a live show at the end of the year. It kind of actually made it super fun. So yeah, we're thinking about it.
Awesome.
What do you think people out in the world? Do you think there's some demand for a live show? I'm not sure where we would do it, what city, but you might just have to travel people so that you can see it all happen in real life.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll do it in New York.
Hey, that would be awesome. And if we need a space too, we can always go to my brewery and have some brew afterwards.
That's right.
Which I still need to give you, Greg.
Yes, I need to taste this. I need to. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the meadery? What's happening with that? It's opening in the next month, I think you had said.
Yeah, I can talk about it really briefly, and before we get back to D&D. Yeah, we're very close to opening, so that's kind of the gist of what I was going to say. We're very close. We've just been working on architecture and build out, and we finally have all of our ducks in a row, and so I think we're shooting for a late September opening. The 21st tentatively. I cross my fingers because these things are never really super solid. But yeah, we're going to open soon, and I'm definitely going to run some campaigns out of the manufacturing floor with some buddies.
Oh, nice. Is there going to be like a space for that?
I mean, not dedicated solely to that, no, but definitely is going to happen there anyway.
All right, nice. I love that. And it's called All Wise Meadery, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And mead, I had never actually tasted mead. I know that sounds crazy for a D&D person never to have done it. But, I get varying levels of people who be like, no, it's gross, to like, no, you should try it. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually generally think that the market of mead is pretty gross too, because a lot of people don't make it right, or they don't make it traditionally, or they have a weird view on it. And what I mean is normally people who brew mead make it really, really sweet, which is just, I don't think is really how the majority of people like to drink, right? If they want something, they're usually going for something a little more dry or along that road. So we make a nice dry mead that's generally really palatable for more than one or two glasses. So yeah, no, I agree with them on the most part. But if you go out right now and you decide to buy mead off the shelf, you will generally find that it's sweet, and people will make it taste like cough syrup. It's gross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gross. But we're trying to change that a little bit.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. That you see cider has kind of had that same trajectory where it started off being like super sweet. That was the only thing you could get with like woodchuck back in the day, you know, and then all of these more dry ciders, I guess they were always around, but they just got to be like a little bit more, marketable. But like, yeah, you see like now there's a full breadth between, bitter to sweet to everything. So it doesn't just, the variety is the spice of life, as they say, especially in your drink.
That's exactly right. Yeah, even in Long Island alone in New York, I think there's about 60 new craft breweries. So there's a lot of movement in the United States for this stuff right now. And I think, in a weird way, it's inexorably linked with Dungeons and Dragons because, people love to drink and eat and play all together.
I like your segue, number one. Number two, so I think that's fantastic. I want to my next event, I want to have some mead going on so I can dungeon master with the best of them.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we'll legally be able to sell it by then.
Super cool. So when 2-year-old tall guy is going around to taverns and bars around the Forgotten Realms, what does he drink? What does he go for?
Normally he tries not to drink. Actually, I think he's kind of anti-drink, unless they have like a nice goat urine or something weird like that. He is a druid after all. He's got to keep on his game. But if he's offered, he'll try and drink probably beer or something strong because furbolgs are really big, So I think it probably takes them quite a lot of alcohol to feel buzzed.
The science behind how much you would have to consume as a D&D character. I feel like that used to be in like the older first edition D&D books.
Yeah, there was a lot of it. The older role-playing books, not just D&D, but a lot of stuff used to have like rolling for drunkenness and stuff, which I think just ended its way out at some point in time.
So you mentioned that you do some dungeon mastering for Pug Crawl, as well as you dungeon mastered at Stream of Annihilation. Have you been able to do kind of a weekly game, over the summer?
So not weekly, but yeah, I've picked up a few games with some friends. I think, it's funny because in the last, I want to say in the last 4 years, there's so much more interest in D&D with people who have never played D&D before, I think. You know this very well, but since I have kind of always preached to my friends about D&D, I think now the friends who are thinking of jumping on board have started reaching out to me and being like, hey, can you DM groups? Can you come play with us? Can you do this? We could use some advice. And so I've been actually playing a lot with people who don't normally play.
That's super cool. I feel like that's like a new thing we're hearing from all over, like someone who's just I never really knew what it was, to, I watched Critical Role, or I watched Force Grey or something, and I'm like, I feel like I might want to actually try that now. It's breaking through people's built up inhibitions that they might have had about it.
Yeah. No, the landscape has changed really dramatically for the better, I think. And particularly because in the actors world too, there's so much interest in D&D right now because of its kind of improv nature and its role playing, and so I have a lot of actor friends reaching out to me more than ever about it.
Oh, no way, really? That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of them are interested.
Do you think it also dovetails with the rise of like improv comedy? Because I feel,
totally.
Yeah, right? Because I feel like that has only really been in the last 10, 20 years, where Upright Citizens Brigade has like a school in every city now, it feels like, and Second Cities is kind of expanding all over. So everybody feels like, oh yeah, we're into improv comedy, and I feel like the interest in improv role playing, which is essentially what D&D is, has kind of also grown at the same time.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's also the perception behind it too, right? I think more than ever, people are viewing it as a sort of theatrical performance, right? D&D more than ever. I think that there was streaming certainly helped. In fact, I think it's a primary force. But I think because a lot of people may have had thoughts about doing D&D on stage or stuff, but they weren't sure that if you weren't playing, people would be interested in it.
Right.
And now that I think that that's proven, that even though people aren't playing, they still love to tune in and watch the interaction between the players and the DM, that a lot of improv comedians or actors, things are looking towards this kind of performance with D&D because they've already been playing D&D in truth, but they just haven't thought about doing it as their craft before.
Yeah. And then it's got that sense of like, it feels like you're not taking a night off from whatever work you would be doing creatively. It's kind of like it's a way to recharge the batteries for some people too.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And in a way, it's the kind of most it really reaches to the heart of improv and acting too, which is this kind of interactive, very fun, fast-paced scenario where you do definitively have a backbone of rules to guide you through, which is awesome.
Right. It's not like completely free form where you can do anything. I mean, there is a bit of a skeleton of a reality to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Exactly right.
So what was it like working with, say, Deborah Ann Wall? Have you ever met her before?
No, I've never met Deborah before, but she's a really great player. She's always DM'd, I think she told me. So I think I always love playing with people who DM too, particularly, because I think they look at the game differently. I think that they are generally people who DM who are now players are generally more team players, I find, or they like to kind of alley-oop people into fun scenarios. And Deborah's really good at that. At the same time, she was super, super into her character. She plays a barbarian in this, and she really whoops ass. I mean,
Nice.
I was rolling on like 2d4s at a time, and she's getting like 60 crits. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh man.
Barbarians are so fun. But yeah, she's a really really good player, and she's been running long form campaigns forever, and it really shows. And not only that, but she's just truly such a nice human being. Same time, so it was an utter pleasure to work with her, and Joe for that matter too, who's new to Force Grey as well. And I say new, but I myself am kind of new as well, right? I only did a live performance before them, so both of them coming on and have created a really cool dynamic. And Joe is kind of it's fun because Joe is very like headstrong player. I don't know if he's DM'd before, but he's got his Dragonborn paladin, right, who just kind of charges in and destroys things. And then right. You know, our kind of more crafty characters or characters who are a little squishier, like, oh god, let's break him out of this. And that's been a lot of fun. Been a fun dynamic.
I love when there's a little conflict between, you know, the people who are like, hey, we can talk our way out of this, or we can, you know, sneak our way out of it. No, we're just gonna smash.
Yeah, exactly. There's always someone in the group who just needs to bash his head against someone.
Right. So what's it like playing with Utkarsh? I mean, he was there at the live game, but you know, he's in many ways a newer D&D player than any of the others.
Utkarsh is great. We always have a lot of fun on and off set. He's a super fun, sociable guy, and I think his character is perfect. His playstyle is really perfect. It's fun because he doesn't know the actual rules so well, which I actually find very fun to play with people like that, because you see this kind of you see them learning as they go, and then the cogs are turning in their heads of the opportunities that they now have with their abilities when they're using them to the best that they can.
Yeah.
And seeing him do that was really fun in this season particularly. And and Joe, his interaction with Utkarsh is so funny because, you know, Joe he's been playing forever. So he actually came to the second day that we were shooting. He came and he was like, Utkarsh, I have some notes. You could be using your character a little better. And he was like teaching him about opportunities and all of this, and they were vibing with each other in that way. And Joe also brought us all like card binders too, and was helping him through that. But Utkarsh is very funny, so every moment that is kind of a wisecrack can be said, he always takes the opportunity to do that too, which is very fun.
That is cool. Did you know that Joe? Well, yeah, right, because you met Joe when he came to the Lost episode.
Yeah, just very briefly, I met him there.
Yeah, he came as a fan. That always just blew me away. Where he was like, he just wanted to come and see it because he'd seen all the previous episodes, and he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And
he's a die-hard D&D player, like ride or die. The guy's been there since the beginning. He loves it.
I love it. Ride the lightning. Keep it going.
Yeah, he's got a binder full of his character art. He'll like spend some time at night, go back, look up images that he thinks inspires his character, print them out, and put them in a binder. It's so legit. It's so legit.
He's got like a Pinterest board for Ark and the Cruel.
Yeah, it's awesome. And he's got like backstories, and it's like his son too, and he's like, okay, if this happens, then it's like a family tree. It's so cool. God.
Here's my thought collage for my character.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's cool. What about Brian, who's playing Calliope?
Brian's hilarious. I mean, anyone who knows him knows that he's his character particularly. He hasn't played Bard before, so that it's really fun to see him explore that character in a way, and he's always the first to drop a cuss when he's looking dead into an enemy's eyes, and it just never fails to make me laugh. And the spells that he does use, he uses just repeatedly to kind of mess with his environment in the best way.
Yeah.
And I I still can only picture his voice coming out of his character's mouth, which is, I believe, a half elf bard, right?
That's
So
right. Female.
she's this kind of, svelte half elf with his like gravelly voice coming out of it, and it's so funny to me.
With an eye patch and a lute as a club.
Yeah, and he has his rapier, which I believe is just Sir Stabby, and it talks to him, which is so great. And he always puts on his British accent or something when he uses it. Yeah, he's a real character.
Did you know Brian from your days at Meltdown?
Yeah, so not only did I know Brian from my days at Meltdown, but funny enough, so when I was doing the show with my brother on Disney Channel, he was in an episode in the later seasons, and we did one episode together.
Oh, no way.
And then reunited years later to play D&D, which is so cool. Yeah, he played like an Antarctic explorer who was like frozen inside of a bunker. And we had a blast acting together on set. And I know he filmed Sarah Silverman show on the same lot as us. So we've always kind of been around in circles. And he is always listening to metal music very loud. So we were talking about Amon Amarth and just Thor in general, because when those are inexorably linked.
Of course they are. Yes.
Yeah.
Just like Led Zeppelin in that Thor Ragnarok preview. I can never separate those two now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Come from land of ice and snow, man.
I know. It's like it fits so perfectly. I want to just, if that trailer is not, I mean, the movie's not as good as that trailer, it's gonna be a big flop. Because I just watch that trailer like every week now.
I think it's going to be good.
I think so too.
I loved Spider-Man too. Spider-Man was pretty awesome.
Yeah, me too. So that's crazy. I didn't realize that you and Brian had that history. Yeah, because there was a point where he was popping up as a guest star on a lot of stuff. So that's kind of awesome. Do you ever do that with other folks from like, oh, we worked together, 20 years ago, and they're like, really? I don't really remember that.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is that so my brother and I did that show for I think it was like 7 years.
Right.
So we were over, I think, 250 episodes or something, which is, by that time, they all kind of blend into one. So every once in a while, I'll see a friendly face and be like, oh my God. And all of these memories come rushing back of the week that we acted together. So yeah, it happens. It happens. It was our lot, particularly Hollywood Center Studios, where we were shooting, had a lot of people coming through there all the time. So yeah, not many I know played D&D, which is why it was so cool to reunite with Brian about it.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Maybe now there'll be, as you were talking about, with more and more actors and creative folks getting into Dungeons & Dragons, that'll happen more now. You'd be like, we acted together, 15 years ago, but now we can play D&D.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and television, like Stranger Things, is even making it more popular, right? It's popularizing in a way that is only going to increase the player base and the passion for it in the best of ways.
Absolutely. What I love about Stranger Things, and I hope the second season does this too, but it was so good at encapsulating that Dungeons & Dragons is about cooperation and teamwork and being your best selves together, and wanting to pick up your teammates and get the job done. And that's essentially what is happening around every table when you're fighting the Demogorgon, but then you're also just fighting the dragon, or fighting whatever yuan-ti you guys are struggling with against Enchult.
Oh yeah,
it's that same thing.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And I think you can actually see our teamwork kind of come together more and more in this season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can definitely see that. And so I'm excited for everyone to watch it. It's in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, 20 minutes we're going to start, with the premiere of episodes 1 and 2. We're going to get right into it, so that should be pretty exciting. Thank you for reminding me, because I was like, oh yeah, I should make a little hey, it's going to be happening soon, in case you're wondering.
And it's being streamed right here, right?
That's right here on this channel. And you're going to hang out in the chat for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I'm going to watch. I haven't seen the actual edited production of it yet, so I'm gonna watch.
Nice. Me too, because I've been, going around helping promote it and talking to people, but I haven't been in the editing, the actual decision making and whatever. Those top of the above the line, person working on making it happen for just that reason. You don't want to necessarily want to spoil it for yourself. So I'm excited to watch it all.
No, it's more fun that way anyway. Plus, you're like busy as hell, Greg. You're always doing something.
There's been a lot going on for sure.
Yeah.
I've been in this room, this little D&D studio room, a lot over the last few weeks with these fine gentlemen that are staring at me right now.
Your hut.
Exactly.
You're the basement child now.
That's true. They'll never let me out.
You will communicate with everybody, and that's what you do down there.
And you will do it with a smile on your face.
Yes.
Of course, master. Now I need all of you watching and listening right now to storm the castle and save me from Nathan Stewart, who's the evil guy who's been keeping me in here. He's the evil wizard. Nice. So yeah, we're always looking forward to more of this story. Do you think you guys recorded this over 2 days, right?
Yeah, 2 days. And by the end of the second day, we wanted to keep doing it. We were all like trying to squeeze out as many more minutes that we had in the studio. Yeah, it was a very, very fun shoot. The 2 days. How
were the craft services? Craft services good?
Oh, just delectable. And they had the whole spread, right, of vegan options and regular human options.
I love it. And regular humans. Yeah.
And non-elf player options.
Right. But yeah, no, I think we're going to squeeze out a whole bunch of episodes from those 2 days, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm always looking toward the future. What do you know any, and maybe this is more in speculative territory, but do you have any people, entertainers that you would love to get involved in a season of this in the future?
Well, yeah, no, definitely. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, a lot of the pug crawl people that I played with, I think at one point in time would love to join us on this. But I was talking to a buddy earlier, Jack Kilmer, about Dungeons and Dragons, and he seems really, really interested in it. As well as, I'd love to get another campaign going with my brother soon too, because he always has very, very fun, creative characters, and I haven't played with him in a minute. So maybe one day when he's back from Vancouver.
Right, because he's shooting the Archie show. Is that right?
Yeah, he's up in Vancouver full time shooting Riverdale.
Right.
So he's up there for 8-month period at a time, and he doesn't get to play D&D up there with them. So when he does come back, he likes to jump in and pick up games with us.
That's cool. Did you guys play a lot growing up?
Yeah. So I think I did an interview on YouTube. About this a little bit, but so Cole and I, so there's a famous comic book shop in Hollywood off of Sunset called Meltdown Comics, and Cole and I were in there after the set or after work every day. Like we would go there and pick up new comics and toys and talk to the owner Gaston and his kids. And I'm also really big into video games, so the more that I played RPGs, which are my favorite type of video game, particularly because I don't like playing with other people, I really, you realize that the root of all of that is Dungeons and Dragons, right? So we got really interested in that, and eventually talked to Gaston, who owned Meltdown, and Cole and I were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could run campaigns out of the back of Meltdown where people could come and play pickup games in Meltdown Comics, which is like the coolest staging ground to play Dungeons and Dragons in. And Gaston, being the awesome guy he is, on top of a very, very quick businessman, was like, absolutely, and actually invested time and energy in supporting 15-year-old Cole and I's idea about Dungeons and Dragons in the back of Meltdown. And actually those campaigns continued running, and they're still running to this day in Meltdown Comics still. So we've been playing, Cole and I have been playing together for a long time, and never really one consistent campaign. But yeah, we've been playing together for quite some time, and he's also joined us on a couple of Pug Crawl episodes too.
Nice. Were you the Dungeon Master, or was he the Dungeon Master? Who would most take the helm?
I usually was the DM myself. I was kind of interested in that. And I will say that was actually a big influence for me going to take video game design in college as my major.
Right, at NYU.
Yeah, at NYU. Because that, learning how to kind of weave a narrative into game mechanics, I found that I just loved. And so I really became invested in that. But I actually started DMing. I didn't play before I DM'd.
Oh, really?
I started with DMing. And then I started to play more.
And so which do you like better? Which do you think you gravitate towards the most if you had to decide?
It really depends. I like the way that we did it at Pug Crawl, which is kind of quick one-off sessions, right? And I would actually say that they're like non-canonical, and you roll randomly for characters for people who haven't watched it. We're not filming very much right now, or we haven't actually done an episode in quite some time. But for those of you who are interested, it's on Twitch. You can just check it out after this. But it's we rolled randomly on a d20, and each number on the d20 correlated to a random character that you would have to play in a scenario that was suggested to us by the Twitch chat. So I loved DMing those because you had this kind of frantic, weird time constraint, as well as this kind of usually outrageous scenario that was anything could happen in our 3-hour-long sessions that we were playing, and nothing really mattered after that session. So all of our players would just go wild. And so it was really fun to DM those, particularly because you could create a pretty interesting story in a 3-hour time frame.
Yeah. And I like, the dependence on random elements, because there are some people who, maybe we can talk a little bit about this too, because it's fascinating to me, but there are some people who don't like random encounters, or don't like playing with random encounters or rolling on random tables, because it feels random to them. It feels like, it doesn't move the story along, or many times it just slows the story down. But I love stuff like that, and being not forced, but you have these prompts, and these prompts inspire you to create new stories and new things that you wouldn't have had if you didn't have this random prompt kind of telling you what to do. And that's essentially what Pug Crawl is all about. I mean, I'm sure there are stories that were told through your sessions that no one ever had any preconceived notion that was going to happen. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of, I think when we were designing it, I was particularly inspired by I was playing a lot of Binding of Isaac, which is,
right.
It's a roguelike game, and roguelikes are generally heavily reliant on RNGesus. So I was just so into that at the time, and so you're right to say that we amped that up about D&D to 10 when we were playing Pug Crawl, and it was really fun. Actually, it's at first I was more of an advocate of kind of no rolling on random spreads when designing characters even.
Yeah.
But I actually really have recently come to love that is rolling randomly for stats.
Because you get something high that's why would a warrior have a high charisma? All right, let's play that out.
Yeah, and it's really rewarding in that way. I found that it's kind of more rewarding than scary in a lot of ways, because I think as a player you are usually generally thinking when designing a character oh well, fuck, I didn't roll high on that sucks, it's gonna make my character bad. But in actuality, what makes your character bad is usually the DM. So
Or the bad decisions you make. And
yeah, exactly. Like your character's only bad if the scenario in that particular moment dictates that, and you're maybe not optimizing him correctly or her correctly. So I think when you kind of depart from that idea, you can have a lot of fun, and you can also feel kind of less attached to your character in a good way.
Yeah, I think that is also true. People get so latched onto that as their alternate identity, which can happen, which is also good. And I think having the one or two of those characters in your life is a wonderful thing. But there's something really great about going completely outside of what you would normally do. Like say you love half elves, or you always play elf characters. Like, well, roll something randomly and you're playing a dwarf, and then all of a sudden you have to play what you hate. Right? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I like the different things that dwarves can do. And I feel like if more people were into that kind of thing, the world would be a happier place.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's part of the fun of D&D too, is that because I'm guilty of this. Every player I know is pretty guilty of this. Generally, is playing what they're comfortable with. And I do it with druids. I know people who do it with like paladins or even races in the game. So when you are forced into a position to explore more, you can actually kind of find a lot of fun creativity in it.
That said, you knowing in and out the druid capabilities and the stats of the various animals that you could bring in definitely did bring a lot to your old tall guy. So there's something to be said for being in your wheelhouse as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Certainly. And I get a lot of inspiration for Tyrell off of Naruto too, which was kind of funny because he's always summoning like Gamabunda and his like frogs and stuff. And I always think that it's funny to make characters like that. So there's a couple moments in the new season that's very like kind of anime weeaboo stuff.
Neat. I didn't even like think about that. That's cool. Yeah. I never watched that cartoon. I don't know why.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean, it definitely suffers from like exposition and too long. They don't know when to end it, but some of the fight scenes are so sick.
Neat. Well, thanks, man, for calling in and being able to talk about Force Grey, Lost City of I keep saying Umu instead of Omu. But we're excited about it, and we're going to show it in about 9 minutes. Jesus, that went fast.
I'm so stoked that I got on to talk to you for a little bit, and that everyone in chat is excited to watch it too. And I really hope that you guys enjoy the new season, because I know I do, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
It looks like it, just even from the trailer that I saw, it looked like you guys immediately, it's infectious watching people have fun together, and it looks like that's what's happening for sure.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me on, and I'll be in chat to fuck around with people for a little bit too.
Nice. Awesome, dude. Where can people, follow you on Twitter or something like that if they want to ask you more questions about your character?
Yeah, I'm super receptive, particularly on Instagram, to messages about D&D, and on Twitter too. All of my handles are just at Dylan Sprouse, DYLAN SPROUSE. So I try to keep it simple in that way. I'm not gonna, be champagne poppy too.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, I took advice from you when I did my Twitter handle too. It's all about the first name, last name. Yeah,
it doesn't need to be much more than that. Call me a traditionalist.
And then I'm going to go through and thank all the people on Twitch chat who have all made up names. But thanks again, man, and thanks for staying in chat. And I'll be in there too, and I'll poke you for sure.
Awesome. Thanks again, Greg. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Bye, man.
Bye.
That was the amazing Dylan Sprouse. He is always fun to talk to about Dungeons & Dragons. I love getting those stories about when he would play with his brother on the lot and going to Meltdown and stuff. I just love the fact, because I was aware of all the goings on in the Disney Channel, even though I was alive and not living at a home where I would watch such things. But I was aware of all of it through nieces and nephews, and it's just endlessly fascinating to me that the person who was acting in those was at the same time playing Dungeons & Dragons the whole time. It's amazing, and I love hearing those stories. So hopefully he'll come back on again when we do more Forrest Gray, or even more before that. Who knows? And I'll be stopping by his meadery next time I'm in Brooklyn. It's gonna happen. I know it is. So keep a glass of mead cold for me. Is it hot? I don't know. Do you serve mead hot or cold? Gosh, I wish I'd asked him that. All right, well, I guess I'll ask him in chat later on. But thank you, all of you who are listening, for being here when Shelly is not here. I know she really is the rock that holds this podcast together. Without her, this podcast is nothing. It is worthless. Anything I do is dirt, and everything that Shelly produces is gold. We all know that to be true, and that's why you should check out Betrayal at Baldur's Gate when it comes out on October 6th, as well as Axis and Allies, the Anniversary Edition, also on October 6th. It's like crazy Avalon Hill Day. You should pay attention to DungeonsandDragons.com if you have any information or want any information about Dungeons & Dragons or how to get in touch with it or how to get started with it. Message me on Twitter. I'm at Greg Tito, and we can talk about that. And, of course, you can go follow the Dungeons & Dragons official account on Twitter. That's at Wizards_DND. If you would like to watch live recordings of these podcasts, you can now do so on Twitch at twitch.tv/DND. We record basically every Monday afternoon from 2 to 5 p.m. It is amazeballs, and we're going to keep doing more and more stuff like this if you guys are into it. Adding more shows, talking to D&D creators, as well as maybe some fun new maybe art-related shows. Perhaps we'll do some happy trees here and there. It'll be amazing. So pay attention to the Twitch channel. We're always putting out more and more programming, and there'll be more coming out in the next few months. And all these guys are looking at me being like, what? No more content. We can't do anymore. It's impossible. But no, it is possible, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with a smile on our face because we're like a D&D party who is all getting together to slay the Demogorgon monster that is rampaging us, which is non-productivity. All right, this metaphor is going nowhere. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but please make fun of me as much as you can on Twitter. And I'm going to be done talking. I've been doing it for about 3 hours, and we shall say goodbye. But before we do, that's the end of the podcast segment. All right. Should I actually do like the end of like bye, 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 bye. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening on the Dragon Talk podcast episode. I'm going to get better at it, I promise. But for those of you who are watching on Twitch, I got a couple of shout outs for you for subscribing today. There have been 12 subscribers today. You guys are the best. I'm going to murder your names right now, but I'll try to pronounce them as much as I can. B. Payne Vitusa. Thank you. Beardy Wan Kenobi, thank you. Hey, it's Char95, thank you. Pez Radar, thank you very much. Obo Crazy, I love you, Lauren. Thank you for watching almost everything we do, and I swear there's going to be a thing. You know about the thing. Meggie May 328, we love you. Vax Halar, you're a good person. Modius, you're also a good person. Kurrigan, kind of like Kerrigan, but Kurrigan, I like it. I like where your head is at. Thank you for subscribing. Starbarf, I did that once. I don't recommend it. Ben the Green Machine, thank you. We already thanked you. And Danny Hartel, thank you. You guys are all wonderful people. We're going to be in chat watching the premiere and Reality Storm. I'm sorry, one more. Reality Storm. It's like a reality mind storm coming at you. I'm going to now I'm making the precedent where I have to act out people's names as I read them out. And this is terrible. Terrible. But thank you guys so much for being in here. You guys in chat are, in fact, amazing. Thank you, Max Sterling, for saying I did a good job and lying to all of our friends. You're all wonderful people. We got 2 minutes before we start with Force Grey, Lost City of Omu, Episode 1. We're going to do Episode 2 right after that. So that's right. You get 2 episodes of this premiere, and it is going to be amazing. So I'm going to get out of here, and at 5 p.m., we're going to make it go in 2 minutes. All right. You guys got anything else to add? No? Just thumbs up all around. Force Grey is happening very soon.